company. For those who are new to us, if you're familiar, welcome back. Then we've got three main areas to talk about. We've got integration usability, how SpiraPlan has a comprehensive feature set, and as Rick had alluded to, how SpiraPlan provides a cost-effective and more efficient solution to the Atlassian ecosystem of Jira, Confluence, and various plugins. And then we have the live application demo. So first of all, a little bit about Inflectra. What we are really passionate about as a company is quality, with a capital Q, meaning quality about everything in the process. And the reason we believe that's so important is we want you, whether you're a customer or hopefully a prospective customer, to deliver your software, your systems. We want you to be faster, but we also want to have lower risk and high quality. And oftentimes people feel like if you're delivering things at speed, following an agile DevOps-oriented life cycle, you're going to have to sacrifice quality for speed. And we don't believe that's true. We believe that's a fallacy. You can deliver high quality software, high quality systems, both with speed, but also with high quality. And we can reduce the risk of doing that and reduce the risk of development, delivery, and going live. As a company, I think it's always very important to understand the company behind the product. And in fact, when you talk about quality, one of the fundamental tenets would be quality comes from within. And so we believe very passionately, not only in the quality of what our customers are doing, but having a product that itself is of high quality. And so the values of the team behind the product is a testament and a foundation to how we deliver that quality to you. So we have four important core values: great products, great team, great workplace, and great community. And we let these values actually infuse themselves into the product we deliver. And as we talk through the functionality, we talk through some of the differentiators, we talk through some things we've done differently, the values themselves will speak for why we've done that. And I will try to bring the conversation back to these values as we get into the appropriate areas. But just to know that these are the values that we hold dear to us, and we live them every single day as a company. So what do we at Inflectra do, however? Well, we provide capabilities for the entire software development and ideation lifecycle. So everything from coming up with requirements, developing a system, planning it, managing it, testing it, ensuring it's of high quality, delivering it, supporting it, and then ultimately taking feedback from customers and using that to improve a product. We provide functionality across that entire lifecycle from beginning to end. We integrate with a lot of other tools to make that happen. We're not an island. And so we also have a very robust set of integration services that you'll see. But we have functionality in our portfolio that cover these different areas. And for today's conversation, we will be talking primarily about the SpiraPlan product. That's the core of our suite. That's like the hub that everything runs through. So SpiraPlan is our program and project management hub. It includes all the functionality in the SpiraTest and SpiraTeam products that you may have heard of. Those are actually just reduced features of SpiraPlan. SpiraPlan is the full enterprise suite. And so when I go through the demo today, I'll be demoing what's in SpiraPlan, but for smaller organizations, the other versions, SpiraTest and Team, may be a good starting point to get going. And it all goes back to the idea of having the right tools at the right price point with the right efficiency for different clients. We have these different tools available so you can get started on a smaller edition, adopt the necessary capabilities, and then grow as your company grows and as your maturity grows. Our SpiraPlan platform is our project management and quality hub. And then adding on to that, we then have our Chronodesk IT service management solution, our SpiraCapture exploratory testing solution, and our Rapise AI-driven test automation product that handles web, mobile, desktop, and other automation needs. Rapise is a very powerful tool we will cover in a different demonstration webinar, but it is available on our website. And there are other webinars recorded if you have interest in that. So let's talk about why SpiraPlan is different and why we believe it's so important, especially for customers that are either looking to make a jump from the Atlassian stack or at least looking to see what alternatives there are. First of all, as I mentioned, quality is our watchword, and it's at the core of everything we do. And we believe that you as a customer should never have a single point of failure, that should not be an option. And unfortunately, in the world today, too many times, despite Agile, despite DevOps, despite all the advances we've made in test automation and project management and methodologies, there are too many software solutions that go live with many points of failure, many critical points of failure. And if you look in the news, there are IT systems all over the world that unfortunately have been delivered with plenty of failures, like in the UK with the Horizon post office system, many other IT systems that you're familiar with in government, banking. We can all find examples, telecommunications, where systems just don't behave and deliver the value they're supposed to, and really want to make sure that systems deliver quality and value. And so to do that, our suite is relatively unique because what we do is we bridge these two worlds together. So first of all, everyone wants to be modern and agile. We want to be doing Scrum, Kanban, scaled agile. We want to use DevOps practices to deliver functionality with continuous delivery and continuous deployment. And we've distributed teams, and as we know, we're all working across different time zones with teams in different places, and we're cloud-based. However, that's what we want to do. But unfortunately, there's a lot of things we have to do to deliver safe products that are compliant. We have to be able to understand the risks with our software when we go live. We have to make sure we're following all the data privacy rules. We need to make sure that we understand what is the functionality and how will it change business processes and what's the impact of that. We have to understand what are the true requirements for our system, not just the requirements as we define them, but as maybe the law defines them, as regulators define them, or as our customers define them. And what we see is there's this persistent gap between a system that we design and build according to the requirements, according to the user stories, and we deliver it, and yet it doesn't deliver the value or it fails to meet the needs and is considered not fit for purpose. And it's this gap between the left-hand side and the right-hand side that causes a lot of these problems. And so at Inflectra, our mission is to bring these two worlds together, to make sure that we're delivering systems that, whilst they deliver the functionality that we intended, deliver the value that's needed. And some of the ways we do that are we doing things a little bit differently. So, for example, when we compare specifically the Inflectra suite with, say, JIRA and a lot of the Atlassian suite, we've designed it to be useful and usable right from the beginning. Meaning that when you first turn on SpiraPlan, and we'll show you an out-of-the-box demo a little bit later on, right from day one, you've got all the functionality you need for managing a software delivery team in the system. You've got boards, you've got requirements, you've got grids, you've got test management functionality, you've got quality, you've got risk, you've got backlogs, task management, defect tracking, code management, all built into one solution. You're not having to bundle together three or four different solutions and plugins to get that working. You don't have to spend days and days configuring it, integrating other tools and other solutions from other vendors. It's all in one system, and you spend therefore less time configuring it and more time using it. And the irony is, a lot of times you get solutions that are very simple on the surface. Everything looks very easy. Everything's an issue. Everything's a bug. Very easy to manage. Once you start actually using it in real life, everything gets very complex. And we've seen customers where we've gone in to look at their systems from a migration standpoint, and it's just like a rat's nest of issue types and workflows and statuses and add-ins. And what actually started out very simple maybe 6 years ago has now become this entire rat's nest of integrations and plugins. And so we designed SpiraPlan to be different, to be a solution that, whilst it starts off simple and lets you graduate, we've built in all the best practices for you. So as you start using it, it actually is ready for those enhancements. It's ready for you to take that next leap from project management to product management to program management. You're not having to manage it all and configure it all yourself. And it really simplifies that whole process. So when we look at the different suites, you can see here right here the difference. This is on our website. To get the functionality that you would need from say SpiraPlan or even our Spira team, which is one version down, you would need at least 6 or 7 different tools. You would need JIRA software, you would need Zephyr or X-Ray, you would need Tempo, and you would need a requirements orchestration tool. We picked one off the marketplace here. You would need RM for JIRA, for example. And then if you're using it to compare with the SpiraPlan, which is our program management level solution, you would need advanced roadmaps and JIRA portfolio / JIRA Align. You would need all of those different tools together, and that would give you what's in SpiraPlan, and it would still be a much more of a mess to set up and configure and manage. Everything in SpiraPlan was designed to be elegant. Unfortunately, a lot of the Atlassian suite is a core, simple product that as you add on and add on and add on, like a house when you do 10 extensions, it's not the same as a new construction. And unfortunately, that does show at times. So with SpiraPlan, we've designed it to be a thoughtful solution designed with simplicity. And it really comes back to this different way of thinking. In JIRA, everything is an issue. And so because they built an issue tracker. Whereas with Spira, right from day one, we decided, what are the problems we're trying to solve? We're trying to solve quality, requirements, task management, backlogs, risk management. We've thought about document management. We've thought of each of these as separate activities. We've done research to understand what are the needs behind them. And so we built different parts of the system to handle these intelligently. However, if all you have is an issue tracker, everything becomes an issue type. and therefore that becomes your fundamental way of thinking. And then that starts out really simple, but once you start adding in tests and risks and requirements and backlogs, suddenly you have a mess. Other things that SpiraPlan have designed to handle are some of the key aspects of project management for critical systems, the kind of systems that can't go down, the kind of systems that you really can't have a critical fault. Traceability is one of the most important features in SpiraPlan. Right from the beginning, we're going to track every change you make in the system and link it back to its origination. So from that very first requirement and user story to the scenario, to the test, to the code that's written, to the bug that's logged, to the fix that's made, we have traceability from beginning to end and back. So you've got the ability to audit in the system why every single change was made. Why was this line of code changed? Why was this code committed? Why did you make the push? Why was that task completed? Who said that test passed? When we went live and this happened, how do we get to that point? How can we prove not to do it again? Second thing is data privacy and security is a really important part of our entire ecosystem. We have the ability to host our system in multiple different geographically locked regions. So if you want to host it in Europe with GDPR or Australia or the US, each of those different privacy regions is available. You can also host Spira completely on premise or in a private cloud. And we've got many clients right now that are looking towards having private cloud solutions. And with Atlassian moving to public cloud, which I'll talk about later, it's a very important solution for them is the ability to do that and even run it on air-gapped networks. Another really important thing is the fact that we have one platform and one set of data with requirements, tests, code, defects, and plans all in one place with rich data behind them. Another really important is that we recognize that you may start off with a single team doing Scrum or maybe a Kanban or a hybrid method. But as you start to expand the product to have multiple project teams, you're very quickly going to need to have program management and scaled agile functionality. And we have that built in from day one. It's not an afterthought. And then lastly, we call this integration across the software value chain. When you take on SpiraPlan and you start to add in other things like say, a pipeline tool or a CI tool or a security management tool or performance testing, different other solutions that we integrate with, those all integrate into the central SpiraPlan project management hub. And now you get integration across the software value chain. So that's a little bit of the differentiators in terms of how Spira is a complete solution. Let's talk about some of the features. And I will be demoing these live in the application, but first it's good just to showcase some of them. So first of all, for managers, Spira has out-of-the-box rich configurable dashboards of key information, giving you the option of seeing information in a dashboard. We've got integrated Scrum and Kanban and Agile boards. We've got roadmaps and timeline views. So whatever view you need to get the information you need to manage your team, we have that all built in, and everything you see here is out of the box. For developers who are using the solution, we have the ability to work from the code upwards. You can see every line of code, all the code that's changed. You can track that to the reason why the code was changed. Were we fixing a bug? Were we implementing a new feature? We have integration with all the different development IDEs. You can see right here in Visual Studio or Eclipse or VS Code or IntelliJ, any of the development tools, you can see right at your fingertips all the work you have to do broken down by the different backlog item type. For the testers, quality is in our DNA, it's in our blood. And so you've got rich and powerful testing features built into SpiraPlan out of the box. No need for a third-party solution or plugin for that. Whether you're manual testing, exploratory testing, or doing test automation, we've got solutions that will provide that functionality for you. We can also integrate all of your different automation frameworks, whether that's Playwright, Robot Framework, Selenium, Appium, or any other number of different Cypress, any other number of different frameworks that you're using. We've got connectors and integrations already available for you. Another thing that's really important for us is methodology. The world is primarily agile. Over the last 25, 30 years, we've seen agile go from being an upstart methodology to effectively the standard. However, we do see a lot of clients that they're agile in their software development, but they might be doing, for example, a waterfall approach in their hardware, and they're building an embedded system, which is both hardware and software. We also have some clients that work in industries where you can't be fully agile. You may have to be a hybrid model or even fully waterfall, just because of the nature of the regulatory environment in life sciences, for example, and certain aerospace and defense systems. And we have that ability to have that flexibility. You can work fully agile with boards, with Scrum, Kanban, or even Scrumban. We can handle extreme programming and also a variety of other lesser methodologies like DSDM and AUP. Then we go on to waterfall. We've got functionality for Gantt charts, traditional defined project management, and then we can bring them both together as a hybrid approach in a project where you might have the software team working in Agile, the hardware team working in a waterfall manner, and you can still manage the combined team in a hybrid way and still track when things get done, when are we ready to release, and what's the quality of this particular new product that's coming out. So it gives you that flexibility across methodologies and teams. Another thing that's really important in SpiraPlan is the ability to scale. We realized right from day one that clients would start using it. They have lots and lots of different project teams, and that will get out of hand very quickly if you don't have a disciplined program management approach built in. And I will say, scaled agile rather than safe. If you've ever looked at SAFe, it's a very complex methodology. We have taken the best aspects of SAFe and turned it into a lightweight scaled agile methodology that you can implement full SAFe if you want, but you don't have to go to that level. What we've built into the system are the ability to have program and portfolio backlogs, the ability to manage backlogs at that level, and then track the different teams working in the different projects and be able to track the project level backlog items up to the program level. So it looks something like this. I'll show it you in the live application, where you can have product 1 and product 2 working on their own backlogs with epics and features and stories. And then you can have a program backlog, which combines those different products together. And now you can have an end-to-end capability, which will pull stories from the different projects and products. And when that one capability is delivered to an end user as an end-to-end value stream, you've now got the ability to track how far along is that value stream, how far along is that epic, when are we going to deliver value to the customer? And that will be when all the different pieces of functionality from the different teams is done. And so it lets you break down the project and product paradigm to see end-to-end capabilities and deliver them in terms of value. And this is an out-of-the-box feature that comes with SpiraPlan. And it lets you be able to do that across the multiple projects and then be able to have these program views that you can see here, where you can see I've got an example of a end-to-end capability about managing payments, which is going to span both, in this case, mobile and web banking, which are two different product teams, two different delivery cycles, where you can track when is that end-to-end capability going to be available, so you can report back to the board or the CTO, we're on track to deliver that by the end of Q1, for example. And we'll see this live in the application. Similarly, we have milestones and the ability to track high-level program milestones, then derive sprints, releases, and other project-level milestones back up to those dates. And one of the key tenets we've designed in SpiraPlan is to avoid micromanagement. One of the dangers when you start to think about scaling Agile is you actually end up breaking Agile. Agile is all about autonomous teams being able to pick and choose their own backlogs, prioritizing work, and self-organizing, and that's fantastic. As a program manager in a program management office, you want to be able to see and coordinate those activities. But organizing and coordinating shouldn't mean micromanagement. And one of the dangers with products that are very issue-driven and project-driven is they try and force the program lens into the project. And now you've got program managers looking at individual project tasks and trying to understand why something is moved. And that very quickly will break down that trust between the program and the teams. And now you end up with micromanagement and you end up with Agile in name only. And so one of the key design decisions in SpiraPlan was separating out the program artifacts from the project artifacts in an intelligent way, so you can still get visibility and track progress, but you don't get micromanagement and you don't get Agile anti-patterns. So that's some of the functionality in the feature set. Let's talk about cost effectiveness and efficiency. So first of all, with SpiraPlan, you get over 70, and I think actually now it's more like 80 different integrations and extensions, and these are all free with the tool. So one of the problems that people have talked to us when they come and look at SpiraPlan is they come from, say, the Atlassian world, where the core product is relatively inexpensive, but by the time you add on all the different plugins to get the functionality you need, all the integration points, you end up with a system that is both more complicated to manage, more complex to upgrade, but also actually quite expensive because all those have to be licensed separately. So everything you see on this page, plus all the other ones that we've added on the website, they're all free with the product. And so when you buy into SpiraPlan, you're buying into an expanding ecosystem at no cost to you. So if we find an integration that's useful, or we have a third-party builder plugin in our platform, they all come with the tool out of the box. There's no additional cost for them. So it reduces your cost of ownership. Another thing that's really important to us is giving you choice. And we believe that you deserve the choice to host SpiraPlan in the way that makes sense for you. Many of our customers will use our cloud or SaaS version. They do that because of the convenience, the uptime, and the performance. And for many clients, that's absolutely the right decision. And the great thing is we can actually host that in different regions. In the Americas, we can host it in the US and Canada, and it's geo-locked. So if the data has to be for a Canadian government agent or a government or a healthcare client that must stay in Canada, we can do that. It can be hosted in Europe with full GDPR compliance. We can also host it in Asia Pacific, particularly for performance reasons, but also data residency reasons. It can be hosted in India, Singapore, or Australia. And there's no cost difference for any of these hosting options. It's exactly the same. But we've also had clients that are looking to host it on their own cloud. There are several reasons for doing this. One is they may have an enterprise Azure license and they want to monetize that. They may have some AI services they want to use. For example, we've got some clients who have Azure AI and they want to be able to use our new ChatGPT plugin, but use it on their private Azure cloud. And to do that, they want it to be running all in their environment and not be straddling across multiple clouds. So you can deploy SpiraPlan into your own private cloud, whether that's AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or anything else that you have hosted, like a proprietary European cloud or a Gov Cloud, anything like that. You can host it in any cloud environment yourself. And then lastly, we do have some customers that want it hosted on either bare metal or virtual servers in their environment. Some of them have to be able to run on an air-gapped environment off the internet. And so you have that flexibility. And you can use any of our versions, the private, public, or on-premise versions, and have guaranteed feature parity. So when we release a new version, it's available for both on-premise, private, and public clouds, and API compatibility. So if you build integration for some in-house apps that integrate with SpiraPlan and they work very nicely, and now you want to move to the cloud version or private cloud or on-premise, you don't have to rewrite your application. It will work as is. And we do a backwards compatibility on all of our APIs as well. So reducing the cost of ownership for you as a customer. And then we're talking about what's going on the other side of the world in the Atlassian ecosystem. This webinar is obviously about people who are using Jira today or looking to maybe move to other solutions. Jira is discontinuing Jira Server. They're doing that so they can focus on their cloud platform. They do have Jira Data Center as an option for 500 users or more. But it's unclear if that's a long-term solution or merely a temporary transition solution. So many clients are looking at alternatives to Atlassian. They come to us every day, and that's why we're having this webinar, to be honest. And one of the things they want to understand is, well, first of all, what's the timeline? How can I get onto SpiraPlan? What are the differences? And I've talked about some of the differences already and the approach. With Atlassian, you're going to be moving not just core Jira, but probably some plugins as well. The current timeline is, and we're almost at the end of this timeline, we started these webinars in 2021 when this first was announced. We're in the last month of support, so that's why we're having this today. So by the end of this month, there will be end of support of server, and you will have to either be off support or onto data center or onto cloud. And Spira does integrate, by the way, with Jira. So if you are on Jira data center server and you go to data center or cloud, you can continue to integrate that with Spira, no problem. But one of the things that you might want to be thinking about as this deadline approaches is, what's the opportunity to improve your tool chain? And, do you need all of the functionality you have in those different plugins? Is it duplicative? And how does it compare to what we can offer out of the box for you and with our partners? So basically, the key is understanding what's the total cost of ownership today, and then moving forward, if you're being forced to move to the Atlassian cloud or data center, what's the ROI for doing that versus another solution? So if you're going to look for alternatives to Jira, these are some of the things that we've talked to our clients and prospective clients about, and these are things that they care about. They want a solution that has a low learning curve. They want something that will meet the business and technical needs of the company. They want flexibility of hosting. That's one of the reasons why they're talking to us. They want the integration. Atlassian that has great integrations and great APIs. They want that from the tool they're moving to. They want good dashboards and views. They can do reporting. The clients that we're talking to typically want some degree of compliance management. They're dealing with financial services, life sciences, energy, telecommunication, manufacturing. There are industries in many cases where they have to be very compliant and worry about audit considerations. They want to understand about price and scaling as they increase their users, what's that going to look like. And one of the things that we do have that is a unique offering is the fact that we do base our licensing on concurrent users. So we do have clients where they have a large number of incidental users or people in different time zones. And so there are some savings where you can actually reuse the same licenses across different user sets. Another thing that they really care about is support and assistance. And at Inflectra, we do have a robust support team, and we also have a very strong partner network. So if you want training or assistance beyond core product support, we have a partner network that can help you with that as well. So let's look at some of the other things to think about, which is one of the things we find when we talk to clients moving to SpiraPlan is they've typically been adding plugins across different teams over many years. And so as they acquire functionality in teams that they need to be able to use this functionality, when they start to look at a new solution, they need to assess what is the functionality you have in its entirety and how does that map to a new solution. And so it's really important that when you're looking at moving to SpiraPlan from, say, Jira, also look at what plugins you're using, but also understand what plugins you're using and why you're using them, and see if there's any technical debt that you can eliminate. Maybe 3 different teams are using 3 different plugins for largely the same reason, and in fact, you can consolidate those. And also look at what functionality we offer that may not be in any of the plugins you have to take advantage of. So creating basically a balanced scorecard of all the functionality you have today, what do you need from SpiraPlan, and then doing a gap analysis, and finding what things that we provide that you may not even have thought of. So that's some of the work to do when you start to think about moving off of JIRA. Now, once you've done that initial decision and decided that the functionality makes sense for you and that SpiraPlan does offer, in fact, better value, more functionality, and a more seamless experience, how do you actually make the switch? How do you make that move? So the great thing is we've got some great tools to help you do that migration, and we've got some great service partners that can help you as well. So first of all, we have migration tools. I'll show you some screenshots of what those look like. We actually have several different tools available. And then we also have our migration assistants from our partners. And they can help you do the migration work. They can also help you with general implementation and configuration of SpiraPlan, understanding its workflows, understanding its boards and processes, and how they might be different to how you've set up JIRA, understanding some best practices to get the most value out of the transition. Oh, they can provide custom and standard training. And that's, of course, provided through our partner network. So we have partners available in different countries, in different time zones, different languages, and familiar with different industries. So depending on the industry, the country, and language, we will typically recommend a partner that can meet your needs to help you make that switch from the Atlassian stack to Inflectra. And of course, it's all backed up by our world-class tech support, which includes unlimited support with the product. So in terms of the migration, we've actually got two key options for doing the migration. We have our simple migration tool that we built, and it looks like this. It's very GUI driven. You just point it at JIRA. Is it JIRA cloud or server, or data center is the same. Put in the appropriate credential information, tell it what data you want to migrate over, and then it will migrate the entire project over from JIRA into Spira. And this is a one-to-one migration. It will migrate every single JIRA project one by one using this tool over to a corresponding SpiraPlan project. Now, there is a more advanced migration tool available, and we have a blog on it on our website. This was actually built by a partner of ours, Tieto, in the Nordic states, and this was built to help one of our large clients, Saab, move its Atlassian stack into SpiraPlan. And the challenge they had is they wanted to not just move a project one-to-one into SpiraPlan. They actually had a large, complex set of JIRA projects, and they were using roadmaps to effectively build a scaled agile methodology where they had programs kind of things and project kind of things. And when they looked at SpiraPlan, what it offered, they wanted some of their backlog to move into a program and some of their some of the backlog to move into projects and have them integrated. And so they would need to be able to build rules in the migration to be able to break up what was effectively a monolithic JIRA project into smaller Spira projects and move some of the JIRA stuff into a program. And this would allow them to have a system of systems approach. And this was part of their digital transformation journey. And that's really great, but it does require a more sophisticated migration tool, which is more configurable. And so we released that as an open source project for clients to use as well. So this is available for clients that want to have a more bespoke or custom migration need, where they need to be able to take one JIRA project and perhaps break it into multiple projects. It isn't a simple one-to-one migration case. There's also some other things it can do as well. So for those clients needing a more advanced migration, we do have this open source migration tool that's more command line driven that can also do a more sophisticated migration. So with that, before we move into the application demo, I think now is a good time to take some initial questions if there are any.
There is one question, Adam. It says it's from Gabrielle, or Gabriel, I'm sorry. What solutions are offered for managing system architecture models? For example, change management of system block diagrams.
Great question. So inside of Spira, we do have a diagramming tool. So if you want to be able to draw system diagrams or any kind of diagram flow charts, mind maps, we have a diagramming tool built into SpiraPlan. It's in the document module. I can show it to you during the demo. And so I think I know clients, I believe clients in the Atlassian world would probably use something like, is it Easy Draw? There's some drawing plugins you can get which let you do diagramming. So we do have that built in, of course, to SpiraPlan. Also, if you already have those diagrams in other formats, like Visio or PDFs or any other diagram format. You can also upload those, or SVGs. You can upload those into the tool, of course, and version them, but you can natively author those in SpiraPlan using the document diagramming feature.
Great. That's the only question we have right now, Adam.
Okay, so moving then on to the live application. I'm going to exit the PowerPoint and go over here. Okay, and I just did my demo instance. Let me just make sure it's spun up because I was using it earlier. Yeah, perfect. I'm just going to hide my mini control so I can See the screen. Perfect. Okay, so this is SpiraPlan right here, and this is not going to be a particularly involved demo, just to warn you. It takes about an hour to demo the entire solution. I want to give you just a flavor of what's in there, so feel free to sign up for a trial after this and actually play around with it yourself. Also, if you want to see some of the more advanced features, we did a webinar, I think a week ago, on the latest features of the new version. That webinar is also up on YouTube as well. So it is, again, an overview, not a fully exhaustive demo of the system. So first of all, when you first come into Spira, you'll notice we're on this My Page view. This My Page is designed to be the starting point for end users. When you come in here, you will see anything that's assigned to you, anything that you've been working on. And that way, as a user coming in to run tests, fix bugs, look at the items you have to work on, you will see right away everything that's assigned to you or you've subscribed to or is one of your favorites, one of your saved items, basically. You will see that right here on this My Page. And you can see that across all the products you're a member of or the current project. And I should mention when I use the word product, I'll expand the navigation to show you what I mean. Each of these items you see with a hexagon is what we call a product. They're analogous to a JIRA project. And so I may use the word product or project interchangeably. We call them products, and we did that by design because when we first wrote the system many years ago, many moons ago, we found that people were misusing it. What they were doing is they were creating a new project every single time they had a new version of their system. And so they would create new stories, new requirements, new tests every single time. It was all separate. And that's not the design. The design is you're meant to create a product in the system, like it's a new ERP system, it's a new I don't know, back office system or website or mobile app. We're going to have many versions of this and we're going to evolve that system. And it's a long-lived product. And I think now the term is, it's an agile release train is the scaled agile term, which is a strange, I keep thinking of, going on travel. But what they mean is it's a long-lived set of releases that's one core product that you will evolve and add features to and remove features. And so because the life cycle of that entire product is meant to be managed in one place, we deliberately call it a product. Inside the product, we have releases, we have sprints, we have requirements, we have stories, all of the artifacts I'm going to show you, but they should all ultimately live in a product. And that library information system is a product. And so in the My Page, you can obviously filter that by product or all products you're a member of. Now, just to continue on a little bit further here, though, you will notice that we have then above the product level, we have a hexagon, 3 hexagons. That's a program. And a program is a collection of products. And the programs themselves can have their own backlog. And we'll show you that. That's where you can create what we call program capabilities and program milestones. A capability is our fancy word for a requirement or a backlog item at the program level. We call them capabilities to distinguish them from product level requirements and features, but they are basically like a requirement, but they're from a program standpoint. And that's part of that design I talked about where we're trying to avoid micromanagement by having program features that you can then link to product features to understand if these 3 features are done, well, that lets this capability now become materialized. And then programs, they roll up to what we call a portfolio. And there's always a default portfolio, which you can see here is called no portfolio. And the portfolio is basically a part of the organization. So if you imagine in a typical company, if you are managing your internal IT systems, you might have core systems like ERP, financials. You might have then customer-facing systems, CRM systems. Or maybe if you're a consulting firm, the product would be the work you're working on for the client. The client name would be the program. And maybe the types of clients would be the portfolio. So it could be, ERP for client X. The program would be client X and everything we do for them. And then the per portfolio might be life science clients, and all of client X, Y, and Z fall into that particular class of client. So we can now manage them. And the benefit of this approach is that you can now have reporting and dashboards at these different levels. And you can, of course, create links across these levels. And this was the deliberate design because when we looked at customers using JIRA, what we often found is they have thousands of issue types and they're all spread across multiple different projects. And then they build a roadmap and they try and link things. And it very quickly becomes like a spaghetti or a spider's nest or a rat's nest, or pick your metaphor. And so by having this very structured approach, we designed it to be simple to use, but yet the structure gives you that degree of separation that allows you to have clarity of what's going on at different levels, what's strategic, what's operational, and what's tactical. So first of all, this is a product level dashboard, and you can see right away we've got different parts of the system coming together to give you rich information. The risk management system is showing us all the open risks on the project. We've got this risk cube, so I can see where my risks are. And of course, if I was to look at a real project, I'd probably click on this one that's marked certain and critical and want to understand what that is, and it will drill me down. It's actually this one here. So there's a business risk that the release is not going to be ready on time, and that's a critical release for us. And these are the reasons. You can see the tooltip, I've got some mitigations in place. So I can do my risk management and project tracking right here. I can also see how far along this particular project is. We're 56% done at all our open work right now. And I can see that's across 2 different releases. I can see that both releases are actually well behind and overdue. That's because it's a demo I signed up for a few weeks ago, and I haven't done any work on it. And you can see what percentage complete each of the releases are. So you can see at this project level how far am I from being done from the open work. And then we show you some of the quality metrics, like what's my coverage of requirements, how testable is everything that we're planning for this release. I see a whole bunch of things that are not covered yet. That's a big red flag right there. There's a whole bunch of things that are failing. That's probably okay this far out. But certainly that's the fact that so many things have not got tests covering them means we've got a quality issue, quality risk right there in front of us. We can see our burn down graphs, burn up graphs. We can track the open defects, track the distribution of defects by priority. We can also see if any of our requirements, any of our features have a disproportionately large number of issues. Now, this actually looks pretty good on this project. Everything's like 1s, 2s, and 3s. The most features that have the feature with the most bugs is 3 bugs. If I go over here to another instance of Spira, you can see it's a different example. If I go over to this instance here, we can see a very different number where we'd actually see, I think here, a much larger number of defects, like there's 25 defects against this requirement. So if you see something like that, you've now got some features with tons and tons of issues, and there's probably some issue that needs to be worked out. So the idea is it lets you find the root cause of things. And back to our mission statement, no single points of failure, and quality at its core. This is showing you the health of the project, the schedule. Are we going to release on time? How far away are we? But what's the quality? What are the risks to going live? And do we see any lurking quality and things we should be taking care of? That's a product level dashboard. If you go then to a program level, we have similar dashboards. That's a program level across multiple programs. Let me go to this view here. There we go. And that will show you across the program, quality, schedule, a lot of the same metrics. And you can get a portfolio view. We can also then get an enterprise view. Enterprise will show you the entire system across all products, programs, and projects and portfolios. And you can see here all the portfolios. These ones in red are behind schedule, way behind schedule. This one that's sort of orangey color is behind, but not significantly overdue. And then this one that's blue is actually on track. So you can see right away which of these needs to be looked at, drill down, take appropriate action from a bird's eye view. But look here, as a program and portfolio manager, I am not looking at individual tasks. It's not making me look at one task for one developer. Why is that late? I'm looking at the big picture. What's my schedule? Am I trending before or behind schedule? And what's the quality risks? Meanwhile, at the project team level, they're looking at the individual tasks to burn down what's going on there. So we deliberately segment it this way so that we don't get micromanagement and we get the self-organizing principles of Agile, but we get to scale it in an intelligent way. And we also have this nice roadmap view where you can see everything going on at a portfolio, program, product, release, and down to sprint or phase level and see, what's going on and is it complete or not, and is it behind or on track. So that's some of the dashboards and reporting. If we then jump down into any one of the products, as I mentioned in the original presentation, SpiraPlan is designed to be a complete lifecycle-wide solution. So we do cover all of the key aspects of managing a product, from requirements all the way through to development to testing. So just to, again, go quickly through these, we don't have a time to go through everything in tons of detail, but we do have in the system a powerful world-class requirements management system. And that is designed to work for you depending on the methodology. So this is a good example of a requirements mind map. So you can see all of my requirements and features in a mind map view. We can see any associations and relationships in a graphical form. It's not just a diagram, it's fully editable. You can edit items right here on the board. For those clients working in a traditional environment, they want to have requirements documents. I know people want their requirements documents. I know we want to move beyond that, but we can actually show you everything in the system organized to look like a document with inline editing. So all the business analysts out there who want a requirements document, they have the ability to see the information in the system as a document. Meanwhile, that exact same information is available in boards. And actually, I'll show you the new boards because they've just been refreshed, which is right here. And the boards that you see, these exact same items, these backlog requirements and backlog items and stories and features and epics in a board view. The exact same information. We've got boards where we can segment them. We have two-dimensional boards with grouping. So you can have columns, and you can have swim lanes, and then you can group the boards by team or by component. And so that you've got basically the ability to have boards containing boards and have 2 dimensions. So it's very sophisticated. You can also show on any of the boards, not just the requirement information, which you can see right here. You can also see the test coverage, which individual test cases there are, manual tests, automated tests, the subtasks and the development and the task progress is all right here. So all that information is available right here in SpiraPlan. Again, no plugins, no third-party integrations needed. This is all out-of-the-box functionality. And you can change the boards. You can filter by different fields and organize by different fields. You can change what's displayed in the cards. And as well as the different board views, we also have a grid view. So if you want to see the requirements in a backlog, in a hierarchy, like a traditional backlog, you can see that here as well. And that lets you have a structured backlog. And each of the backlog items you will see together with its test coverage, task progress, priority, and you can show and hide different columns. So again, a robust set of requirements and backlog planning and management functionality all out of the box, methodology agnostic, handling different views. Now, and of course, when you look at this and you say, well, what's the test coverage? What's the task progress? If I click down into that, I can see the tests, I can see the tasks, I can see the attached items, all of that's available right here in the system. So let's talk about where that data comes from. Let's talk about attachments. So the question was around authoring content. SpiraPlan does come with a built-in document management system. And at simplest, that can be uploading documents that you already have. So it could be diagrams, it could be images, it could be MS Word documents, PDFs, whatever you upload, we have versioning of those documents. We can track metadata, we can track tags. You can then link that document or attachment to a requirement, to a test case, to any other artifact or risk in the system, and it's centrally versioned. But you can also author the content natively. So you can just author diagrams directly here in Spira. That's a workflow diagram. You could do a mind map. You could do hierarchy diagrams. So there's lots of different diagramming options. There's also spreadsheet options too. So if you want to do some basic spreadsheet definition, I don't know if I have one here. If not, I don't think I have one ready done, but we have the ability with a spreadsheet editor as well. So if you want to create new content, it's super easy. You just go here, add document, choose the type, and away you go. And if it was a spreadsheet, I'll just create a new one, data, test data maybe. Hit that, and you've got a new spreadsheet like that. So again, all built in. So we can do text, markdown, rich text, diagrams, and spreadsheets. Now, moving into quality and testing. Now, quality is more than testing. That's one of the important things I talk a lot about, that quality is everyone's business. But SpiraPlan does come with the full world-class test management tool from SpiraTest. That lets you build all your test cases. You can group your test cases into folders. You can track the status. All the tests can be manual or automated or exploratory. We've got an exploratory testing module called Spira Capture. We have automation tools like our own, such as Trapeze, or integrate with best-of-class automation frameworks. Or you can do traditional manual testing as well. All that is managed natively in the system. And for every test case that you have, you can track the execution history right here in test runs and see both the automated and manual tests all rolling up to the requirements and the original project management dashboards. There's a lot more functionality in testing. I'm just scratching the surface, including test set management, test suite management, the ability to put together different testing cycles and track and manage those, track which different versions are being tested. All that's available out of the box as a core part of the solution. But developing is only part, of course, testing is only one part of it. What about development? So SpiraPlan does come with built-in code management functionality. So you can manage different branches. So you can go in here and see all the different branches that you can manage. We have a built-in Git solution called Taravault, and that comes free with SpiraPlan. So you don't need to buy GitHub or Bitbucket or any other tool. We have the full code management capability right here out of the box. However, if you are using GitHub or GitLab, we do have integration with those tools. We have integration with GitHub code and GitHub Actions, as well as GitLab code and GitLab workflow and pipelines, and also Azure DevOps code and Azure DevOps pipelines. So we do have integration with the best of breed CI and CD platforms as well. You can manage the code directly in our tool, or you can switch to an external Git provider. Really up to you. The advantage of Taravault is it's free, so you can start going with that. And then down the road, if you move to GitHub or GitLab, we've got free migration, and you can still have it fully integrated with SpiraPlan. Regardless of which tool you're using, whether it's our own solution or it's a third-party Git provider, all of them together will give you the ability to track all the changes in the code. So here is my line of Java code. I can see the commits that were made. I can see which branches it's been merged into. You can see right here, these are different commits. These are the issues that were fixed. That was a backlog item that was implemented, a task that was done. So I can see right here from if I click on one of these commits, I can see the lines of code that were changed. I can even see the before and the after. And then if I go to the actual commit detail page, I can see which artifacts in Spira, in this case, it was 2 bugs we fixed. So I've got traceability from every line of code that's changed to the reason that line was changed.
Hey, Adam,
Yep.
there's a quick question that's
Oh, sure.
very timely here.
Oh, no problem.
Do you support signed commits?
Do you support do you mean I'm actually in terms of a human signing it, or do you mean like a cryptographic signature?
Let's see if
Uh,
Roland asked that question. Roland, if you could clarify that in the question panel, that would be helpful.
and while they're doing
Cryptographical,
crypto
cryptological.
cryptographic commits, so
Crypt,
Spira has built into it a electronic signature system that's based on cryptographic hashes. So we use that internally to do all of our electronic signatures. So this is probably maybe more of an offline question, but typically what will happen is when you commit the code into Spira, you'll tag it with an artifact like a requirement. When you make the requirement say status change, we're going to take that status change, and as part of the electronic signature functionality that we have, we create a cryptographic hash that hashes the change record and stores that with the data. So that's how we do our signatures in terms of compliance tracking. I'm not sure if that's exactly the same thing as the question that's asked.
yeah, he says
Uh,
cryptologic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's an offline question. If
Okay.
the person could reach out to us, I'd have to think about that. Certainly, we have cryptographic hashing as part of our electronic signatures. So moving on from the commits for a second, we can also track pull requests, by the way, as well, and we synchronize those with GitHub if you're using GitHub. In terms of tracking, when you're fixing code as well as implementing features, you might be running tracking bugs. Spira does have a full bug tracking feature built in. We have both board and grid views. And when you run tests in Spira and log them, they will automatically create test defects for you. And we can then manage these defects directly in Spira. We can also synchronize them with other defect tracking tools as well. Within Spira, there is a workflow. So when you log a bug and assign it, you can track that using the workflow. You can assign it, and then you can set a business rules when it's assigned to different people. Different fields become required, different notifications get sent out, and you can see here by assigning that particular defect, it's now asking me to fix it, fill in different fields. Spira does have also the ability to have tags. So you can have free-form meta tags. You can have user-defined custom fields that are structured and set up ahead of time. And you can, of course, add people, like in JIRA, you have the watch functionality. We have the exact same functionality here. We call it subscribe. You can add followers to your items in the system as well. You can do that either by using the follower there, or you can just do a simple @mention and add them that way. So we have many different ways for collaboration and communication. And Spira actually does include even an instant messenger built in. So if you want to have some quick instant messaging, you can use that. Spira does also integrate with Teams and Slack and other collaboration tools as well. Moving on then from incidents, as I said, we've talked a little bit at the beginning about risks, and risks reduction is a key part of our value proposition. One of the things we designed from day one is a lot of tools will treat risk as just a type of issue, but they really are a unique artifact. So we have a dedicated risk management system built in. You saw the risk queue right at the beginning. In Spira, you can create risks. You tag them with a probability and an impact. The system automatically will calculate the exposure score. And then when you define the risks, you can then apply mitigations to those risks and then define mitigation tasks. And those mitigation tasks will then feed into the project plan along with any tasks that came from the backlog. So now you can offset risk tasks, testing tasks, and traditional sort of requirements-driven tasks like building the system. All those go into one work breakdown structure, and that way, things that the risk stuff doesn't become someone's extra job. Managing risks and tackling them is actually part of your core job, and that way they don't get missed or overlooked. You can also then link these risks to requirements or test cases, giving you traceability. And particularly when working in certain industries, this can be a requirement. For example, in the automotive sector, you typically start with risks and then derive your requirements and stories from the risks. So it actually works in the opposite direction than people typically think. So that's a really useful feature. Now, I've talked a lot about work. Now, where does the work go? So when you take a requirement, we can break it into tasks. when we took a risk, we can decompose it into mitigation tasks. All of the tasks from the different top level artifacts get pushed into the task tracking system. So we do have a task board in Spira. Currently, you're seeing the task board by story. So these are my different user stories. These are my tasks. You can see different views of the task board. This is currently doing it by status along the top, and story is being grouped, but you can change that. So you can go from, say, maybe status to by person. And so you can see the board by person like that. So I can see what Fred's working on versus what Joe is working on. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also have the board grouped. So I can group it by team. So if I've got different team members, I can look at my QA team versus my dev team versus my BA team. And that way you've got these ability to have boards within boards, giving you a lot of flexibility in management. So it doesn't become this overwhelming two-dimensional board, but it actually has the ability to group and segment logically. And this is, again, lots of functionality in the boards, lots of customization. If you're not doing an agile methodology, don't worry. You can also see the tasks grouped by folder in a traditional task list, or you can see it in a Gantt chart as well. So if you're doing traditional project management, or you want to be able to have a hybrid approach, you can see the tasks in a Gantt chart and edit them as well as on the board. So boards, grids, and Gantt charts are all available. Now, I know we have only a few minutes left before we go to Q&A. So the last thing to mention is we talked a lot about products. What about programs? So at the program level, we do have the ability to have these program backlogs and manage a scaled program. And I've got an example already built out here in the financial service industry. If you go to one of our demos online, by the way, you'll see the exact same thing. And so how that works is you can take a program and you can define what we call program capabilities. And a program capability is like a requirement effectively, but it's for a program. It's for a capability that spans multiple teams and multiple systems. And you can only realize value when all those different pieces of functionality are done. So for example, it's an online banking system. Let's say we're a bank and we're going to add a new piece of functionality for our customers to manage the transfers to third parties. For that to happen, I have to have functionality from two different teams. I need some functionality for my mobile banking team. I also need some functionality for my web portal team. And of course, in real life, you might need to build an API onto the core banking platform, and that might need to be done as well. So you can have 4 or 5 different separate products, and you have to orchestrate different stories across different products. And only when all those stories are done is that value delivered to the client. You could have every single story done but one, and the client can't do anything because transferring money makes no sense in the user interface if there's no API to actually receive that interface data and actually make the transfer. And doing it through the backend doesn't make sense if you can't access a third-party bank to initiate the transfer. The money doesn't go anywhere. And these are real problems that things have come across. So it's only when all the functionality is done that are you actually done. And that's very hard to track when you've got different teams and different stories and different boards. So how do you do that and orchestrate that? That's where this comes in. You can now define capabilities at a program level, tie them to individual products, requirements across multiple different products. And when that one thread is developed across all these different teams, you can now make sure you can now release that functionality. And that helps you organize those teams. Those teams might say, you know what, we should do this one story early because it unlocks this entire capability. And even these other stories that we're doing, even though they're higher priority within our team, from the program perspective, this one story is super important because it will unlock the other 9 stories that the other teams have done. And it's hard to manage that and know that. But here we have that visibility because you would see this progress bar is like 99% complete. You drill down, you go, well, what's not done? Oh, it's this one thing here. Well, let me drill down on that and talk to the project manager and see if we can accelerate that one requirement. And that gives the power to the team and the program manager without the conflict. And you can then take those capabilities and you can then plan those across the different milestones. And milestones are basically, think of those as high-level release dates. So they could be like end of Q1, end of Q2. They're basically milestones at a program level, as opposed to like traditional software releases that are more at a project level. And so that's our program management functionality. And then lastly, just to wrap up, of course, having all this functionality is great, but you do want to be able to report on it. SpiraPlan does come with world-class built-in reporting. So you can use any of our graphs and charts and our reports. You can build great analytics. Just pick a few fields here to display some graphs. All the graphs that we have can be exported into graphics or data tables. Like that, you can just click on that to get data table, get the CSV, click on this to get the image out. You can write custom fields, you can build custom graphs, all that's available out of the box. You can also have program level graphs and charts and reports as well. And if this isn't enough for you, we also do have an OData API for no extra cost. So you can connect things like Power BI and Tableau directly to the system without needing any backend access. And so you can have the power of taking the data from, say, SpiraPlan. Maybe you've got some CRM data from Salesforce you want to integrate, because maybe it makes sense for you to have some metrics that span the systems, where you can use Power BI and our OData feed to be able to integrate those systems together and give your executives a cross-system dashboard that spans SpiraPlan data plus other systems. And that comes free with SpiraPlan out of the box. We will have additional webinars in the future, and we will be appearing at various live events. So if anyone's coming to Star East or Star West in the United States, Eurostar in Europe, we're also going to be at GITEX in Dubai. So feel free to stop by, say hello. The team will be there, happy to meet you in person, answer any questions. And we will have future webinars on various other related topics as well.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Adam. And if you do have any additional questions that you might want clarification on, definitely send an email to sales@inflectra.com and we'll get those answered for you as well. So thanks everybody for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and keep an eye out for our next webinar that's coming up. We're doing these on a regular basis, so we've got some new features that are coming out eventually, and some additional webinars on that as well.